Boa tarde, alunos. Boa tarde, Lauren e Flávio. Hoje estamos aqui para falar de uma oportunidade de cursos de verão em parceria com a Universidade de Westminster. Então, nós temos hoje a Lauren, que é representante desses cursos de verão na universidade. Esses cursos são oferecidos para diversas áreas, nós vamos apresentá-los. E depois, se tiverem dúvidas, questionamentos, podem fazer na própria sessão ou enviar uma mensagem. Nós vamos colocar o e-mail de contato para vocês enviarem mensagens de dúvidas. Essa é uma parceria recente da nossa universidade com a Westminster e a gente espera que vocês possam aproveitar bastante dessa oportunidade. So, Lauren, please, the floor is yours. Lauren is the representative of the summer courses at the University of Westminster. I'll let her introduce herself, and we are very looking forward to listen to you. Thank you for being here with us today.
You're very welcome. Hello, everyone, and apologies, I do not speak Portuguese, so I will be speaking in English. I will try to go nice and slowly and clearly, and at the end we will have time for questions. So if anything wasn't very clear, please do just let me know at the end. But yes, let's go ahead. I'm here to talk about our international summer school that we have at Westminster, and I am the officer from Westminster who oversees the whole summer school. So you'll be having a lot of contact with me if you do decide to join us next summer. So I've got a very short presentation because I know you might have individual questions at the end. So I'm just going to talk through very briefly about the University of Westminster, and then more detail about the actual summer school. So to give you a very nice and quick introduction to us at Westminster, we were established in 1838 and we were established as a polytechnic. So what that means is during the Victorian times in London, we were an institution that was there to provide Londoners with skills to get jobs. In 1994, we did change to a university, but we very much kept that ethos. So now you will see in all of our modules, in our classes, in our courses, we are looking at what can you learn in this that will help you in your future career. And the syllabi, the module pro formas, will talk about that in a lot of detail. So you will know, right, I've taken this class, and this is how I can show future employers how it's relevant to what I want to do. We've also changed a lot of our assessments so that they're much more authentic and much more relevant to what you will be doing in your future employment. So there's not so many exams anymore. We might have a portfolio, we might have a presentation. One of the summer school modules actually has a podcast as the assessment. So yeah, that's who we were, and it kind of shapes who we are now as well. A few other quick facts: that we did have the first ever cinema in the UK. So in this picture here, right at the bottom, is the Regent Street Cinema, and that's where the Lumiere brothers showed the first ever moving image that was ever seen. That's part of our great history. And we also had the first photography degree. So we've had, a few firsts over our history. So Westminster is not a traditional campus in the sense we're not all on one big space, because we are right in the heart of London. We have a few buildings in a few different places. But for the purposes of the summer school, we will mainly be based at our Marylebone campus. I've put a picture of the main foyer space here. It's normally the home of our business subjects. So it has a financial marketing suite. It's the home of our architecture subjects. So there's some big studios there as well. But for summer school, every single one of us will be using the Marylebone campus. And if any of you do know London, it is literally across the road from Baker Street Tube Station. So really close to great transport links all over. And if you go behind that, it's Regent's Park. So you've got kind of the city right here, And then if you just go around the corner, you've got some nice green, peaceful space. So it's a really great location for us to hold our summer school in. I'll talk a little bit about accommodation, about housing later on, but just at this point to let you know that depending on if you do choose our accommodation, it's either a 25-minute tube ride or it could be a 20-minute tube ride, depending on where you come from. So Harrow Hall of Residence is to the north. And that's one direct train, so that's a very easy commute if you're living at Harrow Hall of Residence. If you choose Alexander Fleming, it's technically a little bit closer. It's in the East End of London, an area called Shoreditch. Um, but you will have to just change trains once to come to us from Shoreditch, or you can just catch one bus all the way there. I'm not going to talk too much about that now. Um, Once you apply to us, we will send you a pre-arrival handbook, and it goes through in great detail how to get around, how to get from the airport to our campus to our accommodation. So we can go in that in detail later on. But that's just to give you a rough idea of where we are. So modules, classes. So we would call them a module. And for the summer school, we have two sessions, session one and session two. Session one runs from the 14th of June to the 5th of July. And session two runs from the 5th of July to the 26th of July. And depending on whether you come in either session or you could even come for both sessions, but you will just take one class per session. And the reason being is that one class is worth the same amount of credit as if you were taking it for the whole semester. So as if you were taking it for 12 weeks in the semester, 4 hours a week. In the summer school, you will be taking it for 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. So it runs a bit quicker, it's a bit more condensed, but you get the same amount of credit as you would during the semester. We do have different classes available in the different sessions. So if you've got a specific class in mind, you'd have to come in that session. So it's worthwhile having a think about what subject you really want to take. In session one, we have some humanities and cultural studies modules here. So we have climate change and culture. We have a humanities module, Black London, Black History in London from Tudors to today. We have a psychology module, the psychology of city life, and we have a history module, murder, media and morality in Victorian London. Now, two of these are a level 4 class. Here in the UK, our degrees are only 3 years in length, and the first year you would study at level 4, the middle year you would study at level 5, and the final year you would study at level 6. So the only thing to bear in mind here is that a level 5 is a little bit more detailed perhaps than a level 4. So we would ask that you've completed at least 1 year of your current study before taking a level 5. The psychology one in particular, I know is might be of interest to you. It's looking at different areas of psychology. So it's looking at social psychology, developmental psychology. It's looking at quite a few different ones because it's focusing on how the idea of a large city, and not just specifically London, but they will obviously look at London, but it could equally apply to Sao Paulo, New York, any big city around the world, and how does that impact on those that are born there and that live there. So that's what that module will be looking at. We do also have two business modules available in session one. Fundamentals of Marketing and Understanding Consumers. Now, these are two kind of entry-level business introduction to. So essentially an introduction to marketing and an introduction to sort of buyer behavior, consumerism, things like that. So that's the session one modules. Session two modules, we have a similar pattern. So we have 4 humanities or cultural studies modules. We have a history module, monarchy. We have another history module, a sexual history of London, looking more at an area that's quite close to us, Soho. That's an area of London. They'll be talking about that. Art and society. This is a module where you're going to a different museum or gallery every single day. So if you want to get out and about in London, Art and Society is a really good one to take. And I'll talk a little bit more about them in general when I move on to the next slide. And the final one we have is Crime and the London Underworld. So this is a criminology module, so perhaps a social sciences class. And it's looking at kind of gangs and the history of gangs throughout the time in London, and particularly the East End of London. If you will be living in Alexander Fleming Hall, that is right in the heart of where that kind of history is. So that's another good reason to choose Alexander Fleming. And then we have two business modules again. So we have global business environment and the power of brands. Again, two entry level business modules. So you don't have to have any experience in those. And if you need to take that as an elective or you just want to take it as an elective, absolutely fine. And then finally, we do have one extra module in session two, which is photography in London. Now, this is not a technical photography class, so they're not going to teach you how to use the camera or how to develop photos or how to edit your photos. It's not one of those class. It's more of a documentary type class. So you will be looking at how you can document your time in London with that class. Let me just say that they run Monday to Thursday, 10 till 2. So you have Fridays free and you have weekends free, and we'll talk a little bit about the social program. But yeah, so you'll be in class 4 days a week for 4 hours. And lots of them, at least all of them, I think, have at least one off-site visit because this is summer school. We don't want you to be necessarily sitting in the classroom the whole time. We want you to be out and about in London. Some of them have more visits than others. So as I mentioned, Art and Society, you are out and about a lot. Monarchy, you'll go on some walking tours of London. Climate change and culture, they just decided to go and work in the park one day because it was very incongruous with what they're studying. So yeah, even though we are based at Marylebone campus, you should be out and about quite a lot for these modules. So that's the class side of the summer school. Now the accommodation side. So this year we have two halls of residence that we can offer you. So this is University of Westminster owned and managed accommodation. So the first one is Alexander Fleming Hall, the first one I mentioned here. It's a Westminster Hall, but it's not on a campus. So it's, as I mentioned, in the East End of London, in an area called Shoreditch. The nearest tube station, if you want to start looking on Google Maps, is Old Street Station. It's very close to Old Street Station. It's an area quite known for being arty and trendy. There's a lot of nightlife there. So if that's what you like street food, you like markets. There's a very famous flower market there. This would be the area to pick. So Westminster staff will be there 24 hours a day. Overnight we have security, but it is in the middle of an area of London. So there'll be, I think there's a steak restaurant right next door to it, for example. So it's a little bit different to Harrow, which I'll talk about in a minute. It's broken down into flats. So you go through the door, there'll be about 6 or 8 individual bedrooms. So you would always have your own bedroom. But at the end of each corridor, you will have a separate toilet room and a separate shower room. You do have a sink within your individual bedroom, but the bathrooms are shared. So you'd be sharing with about 3 people, a separate toilet room and a separate shower room. And then you have a large kitchen area. So in a UK university, the main social place to hang out, it might sound crazy, but it's the kitchen. So in a halls of residence, there'll be a shared kitchen, but there'll be chairs and tables, and that's where everyone kind of meets each other and hangs out. There is also a communal social space at Alexander Fleming as well, and there is a laundrette. But just bear in mind, over the summer, There won't be so many students there, and there could be other tourists there as well. So the communal space might not be as lively as it would be during the semester when it's only students here. Um, so I mentioned the kitchen, but I forgot to say it is self-catering in the UK. We don't have meal plans or anything like that. Um, on campus at Marylebone, we do have a canteen which is open 12 till 2 every day. And you can get some small kind of sandwiches, salads, coffees, and maybe a small hot meal. But that's only at lunchtime. So for the most part, you need to be prepared to cook for yourself in the kitchens, and they're stocked with pots and pans and cutlery and things like that. So you don't need to worry about bringing anything like that with you. Then we have Harrow Hall. So Harrow Hall, if you look it up on a map, is a little bit further out than Alexander Fleming, but it is one direct train. The Metropolitan Tube line runs directly from Northwick Park on the edge of the campus here to Baker Street Tube Station. So it would be a very easy commute for you to get to class. This is on a campus, so at the end of this big path here, there is a huge campus because this is our home of our film production, TV production, radio, music, fashion, graphic design, all those kind of things. So we have lots of big studio space. It's a lot bigger than our campuses in central London. And there will be some activity there over the summer as well. So in addition to you having the halls to sleep in, you can also access the campus up there and use its cafe and use the library, etc. Because it's not right in the heart of London, it's a bit more peaceful. As you can see, there's a lot of green space if you just want to sit out and enjoy the birds singing. And the other main thing about Harrow Hall is that the rooms are en suite, so you will have your own small shower and toilet within your bedroom. Um, so really, when it comes to accommodation, you need to mainly think about what type of person you are and would you prefer to live here or would you prefer to live there? And we'll talk about the cost of them a bit later on as well. So we've done classes, we've done accommodation, and then the final piece in the puzzle for the summer school is the social program. So this is not mandatory. You do not have to sign up to this, but we strongly recommend that you do. So we have developed some tours and events and day trips that you can do around your classes. So for example, in session 1, the London Eye trip is that first Sunday. Before you've even enrolled with us, you will go to the London Eye. Then after class, so Tuesday after 2 p.m., you will go to Borough Market and there's a food tour and they'll take you around to all the different famous places within the market and you can try food and drink at each of the places that they take you to. That first Friday, remember there's no class on a Friday. The coach will pick you up and take you to Hampton Court Palace. And then the Wednesday, I think it is, of the next week, there's a theatre night. So you'll meet at the theatre and you'll go to see Mamma Mia. If you're coming in session 2, it's a similar structure. And what we've tried to do is put a lot of the events at the start of the programme, because that's when you want to meet everyone. And then you've got plenty of time with your weekends to do your own thing after that. So if you want to go to Bristol or Bath or the Harry Potter studios, we can also help you with that. And we have some discounts to help you with that. But you can arrange that in your own time. So session 2, you will go on a riverboat. You have an afternoon tea on a riverboat that first Sunday. After class on the Tuesday, we have the Battersea Power Station, a beautiful old power station very close to the river in London. And it's like a viewing platform. So you go up in the lift and you can see all over London. That Friday, you will go to Kensington Palace. And then the theatre for that is Wicked, which is all over the cinema at the moment, but it's really lovely to see it, you know, in a traditional West End theatre. So that's the sort of nuts and bolts of the summer school, what you'll be studying and where you'll be staying. And then I thought I would just talk a little bit about a lot of the other questions that we get asked a lot. A big one is immigration. So, for the summer school, it's only 3 or 6 weeks. So you don't need a student visa or anything like that. It's relatively easy for you to arrange. Um, and I'm speaking here as if you have a Brazilian passport. I know some of you may have a European passport. Nowadays, it's pretty much the same rules regardless. But either way, there's different rules depending on what passport you have. And again, when I send you that pre-arrival handbook, it will go into a lot more detail. So this is just kind of a general idea of what to expect. And also, some of you may have the right to remain or some other visa that we're not aware of. So unless you have something else, what you will need to do is apply for a new thing we have here in the UK, which is called an ETA, electronic travel authorization. And I've been traveling to the US for quite a few years, and it's very similar to their ESTA. So basically, you're not even allowed to travel without permission. So you need to apply for one of these ETAs. It's currently £10. It only came in this year, but we've not had any sort of complaints about it or grumbles about it. People have said it's very easy for you to get that, and it should come quite quickly. And we will talk you through where to buy it so that you're not. If you Google it, sometimes there's other companies that charge you a lot more, and you don't need to do that. So we will talk you through it. So you would get that, you would travel to the UK, and then you would enter kind of without a visa, but sort of with a visa. So you're not going to get a sticker in your passport or anything like that, but you'll need to kind of come in as a visitor, otherwise known as the standard visitor visa. So they'll just be checking that you meet those requirements. And honestly, for the summer school, the main thing is that you can show that you've got enough money for your time with us, and that we will give you an acceptance letter onto the program, and you might need to show them that, and then they will let you through. They should probably give you a stamp in your passport. If not, we can look at the date that you entered the UK. So that's quite a simple and easy way to do it. Alternatively, some people have to do this. There's some nationalities, their passport means that they have to apply in advance for the standard visitor visa, or you can choose to do it. It's not really recommended for a Brazilian passport unless you absolutely need to, because it costs a lot more than the £10 ETA. But either way, it's quite simple because you're going to be in the UK for such a short amount of time. I will share this link with you afterwards, but it goes into a lot more detail on our website of how to do it, and the pros and cons of both options. But it would be too much for me to overwhelm you with now. This is just to reassure you that it should be quite simple. So in terms of actually applying for us, we have an online application form, and honestly, it's quite simple. You log in, you register, we ask you your name, your date of birth, and we ask you to upload a couple of documents. So firstly, we need to see your academic transcript, your academic record. Roughly, we are looking that you've got a score of 6.5 out of 10 on average. And I say roughly because we do have a little bit of flexibility. We have to consider that on a case-by-case basis. And if you're not sure, you are very welcome to email me your transcript ahead of you applying, and I can take a look at it and I can kind of say yes or no, or I can advise perhaps we might need an extra reference, something like that. But that's the rough thing that we're looking for academically. And then with regards to English, we need you to meet, so everything at Westminster is benchmarked to the IELTS. So the IELTS 6.0 with 5.5 in all components. But there are quite a few other tests we can take, we can accept, sorry. So we can accept TOEFL, we can accept Duolingo. There's a variety. I can't name them all off the top of my head, but there's a page on the Westminster website, which again I can link to, which lists all the other varieties as well. Um, so that's something that you'll be asked to upload as part of your application. In terms of the cost, so when you do apply, it will ask you to make payment at the time of application. Now, we do get a lot of questions about this. If you meet the entry requirements, there is no reason that I can think of that we would not accept you onto the program. So you don't need to worry. And if you are worried, as I said, you can email me first and I can take a look at it and I can reassure you before paying. So you will be asked to pay. If for any reason you change your mind and you want to withdraw, and not join us anymore, we can refund that money. It depends on a couple of things when you can refund and how much we will refund. For example, if you're joining us in session 2, you can have everything refunded. So tuition, social program, housing, any point up until May the 15th. After May the 15th, we can only refund the tuition. And that's because for accommodation and social program, it's a contract and the social program team will be buying the tickets and things like that. So there are some deadlines which are on our website. And again, if you ever weren't sure, let me know. And I can confirm exactly when your withdrawal dates would be. But here's the tuition. Including a discount that we have for you coming from Mackenzie. So it's in pounds. Sorry, I should have put a rough translation. I did not think to do that, and next time I will. But it's £1,773 for one session, and if you did come for both, 3,276. Um, Accommodation is 1,145 if you're just staying for one session at Alexander Fleming, and if you stay for both, it's 2,290. So it's essentially double. So Harrow Hall, 1,105 for one session, and double if you're coming for two sessions. And the social program is £250 if you're for one session and 500 for two. Again, you don't have to sign up. But we do recommend it as the best way to meet other people. Also to say, we will put on a welcome event and a goodbye event, and they are completely free of charge, and you don't have to pay for those. So there will be, even if you don't sign up to the social program, there will be opportunities for you to meet the other students on the program. The last thing I will say before we move on to a Q&A is we will recruit students from all over the world. We are a very international campus, so we get a lot of students from Australia, United States of America, Mexico, Hong Kong, Thailand, Europe. So you will meet people from kind of all over the world on our summer school. So that was a really quick talk through kind of the basics of the program. I'm not quite sure, Simone, how we might want to do this, but I'm very happy to take questions now if that's of help. I'll stop sharing the screen perhaps, and then we can see each other. But yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much, Lauren,
Lauren. Thank you.
for such a great presentation. You definitely managed to cover everything you would like to know about the program itself, but also some details about the city of London.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of questions
Okay.
that came through from Q&A and also on our chat box. I will just address you. The very first one is from one of our students named Luca, and he's asking if it's possible to book a separate accommodation instead of
Yes.
yours.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to stay somewhere else, that's absolutely fine. And the application form will say, do you want accommodation or no? So you can just say no, and
Right.
it will take you right past that question.
Perfect. That's great. It's great to know. Sometimes they've got some relatives living there,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can share some accommodation. Do you, Ana Paula, one of our students, ask if do you accept Cambridge exams as well, such as FCE, CAE?
We do. FCE, we've only just recently accepted, and I think it's changed its name ever so slightly. But we definitely do. I'm just checking on our website. English
If
requirements.
if I'm not sure, it would be CAE
CAE,
for
let's have
advanced
a look.
one. Great.
Yes, I'm sure that we set both of those. I'm just triple checking.
Right.
Cambridge. Oh, yes. So FCE is now called B2 First, and we're looking
Okay.
for a grade C or above. And the CAE, which is now called C1 Advanced, we're looking for 169 overall and 162 in each component. But I'm not expecting anyone to remember that because even I couldn't remember that. So I can certainly send round a link to our website where it lists all the different tests we accept.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. We've got another question. What do you mean by sessions on the accommodation?
So session
When?
one refers to anyone that's coming in the weeks from the 14th of June to the 5th of July. That's session one. And that applies to your class and your accommodation. You'll be in session one. If you're coming in session two, that will be the 5th of July to the 26th of July, and everything's called session two. And if you come for the whole 6 weeks, we will say session one and two.
Right. Are they supposed to arrive on the previous Saturday
Yes, so
or
when we
on
give the
Sunday?
dates,
Okay,
it's from the Saturday.
right.
So you can move in from the Saturday. We would do a welcome event that Saturday evening. So if you can arrive that day, we recommend it. But nothing really starts until the Monday morning. So if it's cheaper for your flight to arrive on the Sunday, you've got complete flexibility. You can move in from 2 p.m. on the Saturday.
Right. We've got another question related to it's written in Portuguese. Let me just try to translate it. It's from an anonymous attendee.
There is one regarding scholarships. Aline, we have a partnership with Westminster, and this price that Lauren showed to us, it's already with the discount for partners. So we deal with them, and in fact, we have the discount in that price. We don't have scholarships in this opportunity. Okay?
We have got a question related to the English requirement, which
Mhm.
says it's mainly someone asking about some internal structure from the university that probably we, but he's asking about if it's possible. Let me see. She, he or she doesn't have the certificate yet, but has a good um, um, let me see, level of English. Is it any possibility to,
Do you mean that you've taken the test but you don't have the results yet?
e- probably even in Portuguese is not clear the question.
Yeah,
So,
no worries.
I
It's
guess
quite,
that the student doesn't have the certificate
oh yeah,
and won't apply only if it's really necessary, if there's any other possibility to assess the English level. Luca,
oh,
is
yes.
what you are you asking this
So there's
in this
quite a lot
sense?
of different things that we take, but most of them are certificates. We would accept, it's quite rare that someone's done this, but if someone's done the International Baccalaureate, um, there's nothing specific for Brazil. Sometimes there's
oh no,
some
no.
country
The
specific
The
things.
person has just written here, drop a line on chat that is saying that has the certificate, but is enrolled in the very first year of the university. Is there any problem to attend the
No,
program
no. If
or
you
the
have the only thing would be the level five classes. We need you to have finished 1 year of study to take a level five, but most of the classes were level four, and that's absolutely fine.
Great. I'm just going to address it in português. Olha só,
Okay. Thank you.
sobre a pergunta. Ok. Sobre a, you're welcome. Sobre a pergunta da certificação, que tem a certificação em inglês, mas ainda está no primeiro ano, no primeiro semestre da universidade, é possível. A grande diferença aqui no Reino Unido são 3 anos de graduação, aqui no Brasil são 4, então tem o level 4, 5 e o 6. Então, o 4 seria o primeiro ano da universidade, o 5 o segundo e assim por diante. Se você está no primeiro ano, no primeiro semestre ou no primeiro ano da universidade, você pode escolher programas que são que tenham uma equivalência do level 4. Se a partir ou do 5, ou se for do 5 para cima, vai precisar a partir de ser um ano completo de curso aqui no Mackenzie, independentemente de qual curso seja, tá? We've got another question about how about food on campus? Do you offer food on campus?
Yes, so I mentioned the canteen that will be open, but it's only open 12 till 2 for a hot meal. Um, it's quite a small canteen. I'm not sure what you're used to. There will probably be two options of food that you can choose. And then throughout the rest of the day, you can get like a hot sandwich, a panini, something like that. So we do have that. But Marylebone is in an area of London where there are lots of restaurants within a 5 minute walk of us. So I think many students, maybe they try the canteen a couple of times and then they go outside to get some food from the local area. We do provide in the morning between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. some free tea, coffee, and porridge. It's like an oatmeal breakfast, and that's completely free. So you can have that before class.
But the food is
Então,
not included in the program.
yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
está incluso no programa café, gratuitamente, café, chá, água e alguns biscoitos. Agora me esqueci como
É
qual a
um
tradução
cereal,
certinha
é como se fosse um
É o
cereal
cerealzinho,
com leite.
é
Isso,
isso.
that's it.
Got another question from Marcela. Can we take photograph and psychology classes at the same time, or do we have to choose one of them?
You can only take one class at a time because you will be in class, you know, quite a lot of the day. So it's only one class per session.
Great. How about roommates? Is it a single room, or do they have to share with someone else?
Your bedroom will be single, only you. So you're not sharing your room with anybody else, but there will be 6 to 8 bedrooms within one flat. So when you go to the kitchen area, you'll be sharing with other summer school students. We will make sure you're always in a flat with other summer school students.
Perfect. We have been receiving lots of questions related to the English requirement. As you
Okay.
said, you're going to share with us the information later on, and then I
Yes.
can send through to everyone. Pessoal, tem recebido bastante perguntas sobre aqui as certificações em inglês. A gente não tem essa resposta pronta ainda para quem já fala um bom inglês, mas não tem certificação ainda. Ela vai encaminhar para a gente daqui a pouco. Assim que recebemos, a gente vai também postar ali nas redes sociais da COI. Temos alguma.
And again, in
Uh,
Portuguese, just to let this clear, this information very clear. Nós não temos bolsa de estudos para esse programa. O que nós acordamos com a universidade, com a Westminster, é que tem um desconto para os alunos, um desconto na mensalidade para os alunos, mensalidade no custo do curso, para os alunos do Mackenzie. Então, o valor que a Lauren mostrou já está com o desconto. Tá? A pergunta apareceu novamente.
Isso, se você entrar no site da universidade e comparar com o valor que ela apareceu, vai ter diferença aí por volta do percentual que foi do contrato acordado com a instituição, com a UPN. Muitas
Exato.
perguntas sobre certificação. Sorry, and Laura, just address some information in Portuguese. Muitas perguntas sobre certificações. Acredito que, se porventura a gente tiver ali um número relativamente de interessados que possa, sobre a questão de certificação, a gente pode conversar de repente com a universidade, mas não é nada garantido. Mas, pessoal, Duolingo, o teste, não é o Duolingo do aplicativo, mas o Duolingo teste, ele é relativamente barato, custa US$ 50, se eu não estou enganado. Ele é rápido, né? Então você consegue essa informação, consegue esse teste de maneira rápida, ao invés de repente, marcar agendamento, isso aqui demora um pouco. Um, um,
Life
we've got
cost
some.
in London. What about the life cost in London, Lauren?
Well, it can be a little bit pricey, um, but as students, you can unlock quite a few discounts around the city. So, because you're only coming for a short time, I would not recommend trying to, I don't even think you can. There is a travel card that allows you to use the trains and the buses for students. I, I think you're not long enough here to get that. But the travel card, at the end of each day, there is a cap. It will never charge you more than a certain amount. So I think it's around £10 a day. It won't charge you more than that on like a pay as you go way to do it. Another way to save money is not to use the trains at all and only use the buses because they're a lot cheaper. It's £1.75 to use a bus. And of course, walking. Once you get to campus, you're right in the middle, so you can do lots of walking there. In terms of food, because you have a kitchen where you will be living, we would recommend that you order food, you order groceries from we would call it a supermarket, a grocery store. There's many ways you can do it. You can go yourself and carry back the bags, but they might be heavy. You can order online and they will deliver the food to you on at your hall of accommodation. So that's the best way to save money. If you eat out in London all the time, then it can be expensive. Um, in terms of entertainment, so cinemas, theatres, um, nightclubs, things like that, there is always a student discount. So you should be able to sort of save some money if you look hard enough, you should be able to save some money for those things.
There is a question about the social program tuition fee. Sophia wants to know more about it.
Yes, so the social program is run by an external tour company. So they charge a package price. So they charge £250, and that will include entrance to all of the events that we listed. So, for example, for session one, it will include your ticket to the London Eye, your theatre ticket, your entry to Hampton Court Palace, and the third event, which now has slipped my mind, the Borough Market food tour. That was the fourth one. So that price will cover all of those events. Not all students will join the social program, but we get a lot of feedback every year that they wish more did because when you're in class, it might be quite a small class. There could be 8 of you, maximum 20 of you. Um, but if you really want to get to know everybody, then the social program is the best way to do that. And obviously, something like the London Eye is a very typical tourist attraction in London. So it's a good way to see London, but have a tour guide with you. And also at Westminster, we will have a student assistant. So a Westminster student will come with you on all of the events. So not, boring old me. You'll have a nice student who will come and kind of be there for you if, you're not sure of anything, that they can help you on all of the social program events.
Right. Regarding this information, we got a question yesterday related to one of our PhD students who would like to join this program. Is there any problem or
No problem at all. We have had mature students join us before. Um, the only thing I would say is depending on uh, if you want to live in the halls of accommodation, there might be lots of younger people that are party animals. It depends on, you might be a party animal yourself anyway, and it will be fine. But if you do have a concern about your accommodation, then let us know because it might be that perhaps we could move you to a flat with, during the summer, there's other groups using the accommodation as well. So there might be the possibility, if you need it, that we could move you elsewhere. But otherwise, no, not a problem at all. Everybody is welcome.
rate? I think
Mm.
we covered most of everything, Lauren. For those questions we didn't cover on this session, please do send us in an email to
Yes.
coi.alunos@mackenzie. Pessoal, que a gente não conseguiu, né, professora?
One more question. What about the deadline to apply?
Oh, yes.
Perfect.
Sorry, apologies. How did
Yeah.
I forget that? Very important. So, applications are open now. If you want to join us in session one, we need your application before the 23rd of April. So we still have a whole month to go, but it's the 23rd of April for session one. Session two is slightly later, it's the 1st of May. What I would say is that what delays applications, and I'm sure you all know this from your questions, it can be the English language side of things, and if you're not sure, so don't leave it till the last minute to apply.
There's a very nice question. Where
Yeah.
do we apply?
Yes, so it's on our website, but I'll make sure I send the links around. I'll send the link for
Perfect.
each session. Yeah. Um,
Perfect.
but yeah, and if you, as I said, if you're unsure about your certificates, then I'll share my email address and I'm very happy to look at each thing independently. Every year there's always something that comes to me that's not on our list, but perhaps we can accept it and we will consider everything. So yeah, let me know.
Perfect.
Lauren, can you repeat the second deadline for the session two? I'm writing in the
Yes, 1st
chat.
of May, 1st of May.
1st of May. Thank you.
Yes.
There is just the last question. If we apply this year, we can go this year, or is it
Yes.
possible to go the next one?
We've only got this year on sale at the moment. Next year we will decide August time which modules we're running and when the dates are. So it's only for 2025 currently.
Right. Anything else, Professor Simone?
No, I believe it's great. Thank you so much, Lauren, for being here, for sharing with us the information. We are open to the questions after the webinar, and we can send to Laura the questions that we couldn't
Yes.
answer. Okay. But
Yes.
thank you very much. Thank you, students, for being here, for your interest.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. It's been
Thank you very much. It was a
lovely to meet
great
you all.
session. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye, everybody.